Dennis, Mr. Secretary, thank you very much for that introduction, but more importantly, as a lot of the senators here know, for me and my friend for a long time. And thank you for joining the administration. You know, when I was forming the administration, I knew Dennis could do any job in the administration. But he wanted to be Secretary of Veterans Affairs because it mattered so much to him. And I think the most important thing to have someone in charge of that department was somebody who cares about what he.
So there are several new proposals on the negotiating table that would address Social Security. This could mean millions of people could be seeing a big change to their monthly benefit payments. So watch until the end to find out if you're eligible for the stimulus check and Social Security increase. Now, many lawmakers in Congress are discussing Social Security reform. The future of Social Security remains uncertain, forcing people to ask questions like, will Social Security run out? And according to the 2021 annual report from the Social Security Board of Trustees, the cash reserves will be fully depleted by 2034. That is 1 year earlier than their 2020 report indicated. Annual taxes are expected to cover only about 78% of the benefits each year after that. And according to Yahoo News, part of the problem can be attributed to longer life expectancies, a smaller working age population, and an increase in the number of retirees. By 2035, the number of Americans 65 and older will increase to more than 78 million, about 56 million today. As a result, more people will be taking money out of the Social Security system, but there will be fewer people paying into it. Now, that doesn't mean the program will run out of money entirely. Payroll taxes are expected to cover about 70% of scheduled benefits. But if the funding gap is not filled, retirees could get lower Social Security payments, or workers might need to pay more into the system. Experts say that if no changes are made, this is what Social Security could look like in the future. So if you're planning to retire in 2035, it is suggested that you keep in mind there's a chance you could receive less in Social Security benefits than you might be expecting. If no, then changes are made to deal with the trust fund shortfall. Benefits will be reduced by 22%. Now, the SSA has shared that for many retired adults, that kind of cut in benefits will represent a big financial hit. Social Security provides at least half of the income for 50% of elderly married couples and 70% of elderly single people. And some experts doubt that a big slash in Social Security benefits is forthcoming. One analyst told Yahoo News, as pensions are disappearing, people are relying more on Social Security because of the program's popularity. Politicians won't want to tinker with benefits for existing retirees and will likely have to find other solutions to the trust fund shortfall. And even though Social Security isn't expected to run out of money until 2034, several options for changes have already been floated to deal with the budget shortfall. These options include raising the payroll tax rate, increasing their wages subject to Social Security taxes, and raising the full retirement age and reducing the annual COLA. If Social Security benefits are not cut, tax revenue for the program will likely have to increase. One way to do that is to increase the payroll tax rate. Social Security is funded through a 6.2% payroll tax that workers pay, plus another 6.2% that employers pay. As the trust fund reserves dwindle down, the payroll tax will need to increase enough to sustain the program. If nothing is done until 2034 or 2035, that increase will need to be sharper. An increase in the payroll tax rate could take different forms. Currently, the total payroll tax is allocated to equally be between the employee and the employer. The tax increase could be allocated equally among employers and employees, or allocated more to the employer to hide a tax hike from taxpayers.
A lot to get to, Bob. We just heard from Galaxy Digital's Mike Novogratz. I think it's his first public appearance since the Luna Terra implosion, right? He says, though, that may just be a taste of what's to come.
Yeah, it's very interesting. He had some very important comments about Bitcoin and whether or not it was going to bottom or not. In fact, he was asked about that. He said Bitcoin will turn as soon as the Fed flinches. Interesting statement. He said there's no fears Bitcoin is not going to remain a real macro asset. But the big story, I think, was everybody here from the crypto community reacting to that Senate bill that was introduced yesterday by Gillibrand and Loomis. Of course, this bill would give primary authority to regulate crypto to the CFTC. The crypto community that's in attendance here universally has been talking about this and applauding this. Here's what Mike Novogratz had to say about that bill.
Wildly positive, like 3 cheers for the 2 female senators from either side of the aisle. It does a couple things. It says this is bipartisan. And so that's a big positive. I think the bill laid out pretty much what the industry would like, which is just transparency and clarity. Is it going to get passed? No, it's not. But it's a great starting point for the negotiation and for the discussion.
So as you can see, the crypto community wants the CFTC to be their primary regulator. They think the CFT is a smaller organization, it's more sympathetic to them, and they've really soured on the head of the SEC, Gary Gensler, who's going to be speaking here in an hour. He's not even approved a Bitcoin ETF. Novogratz said it was crazy that the SEC had not approved it. So I think there's a lot of people unhappy with Gary Gensler right now.
Right,
in the crypto
maybe
community.
a sigh of relief that he's not going to be the one potentially making the rules. But one thing that he is looking at that he's been quite vocal about is payment for order flow, which has been so controversial with retail investors. What do you think we're going to hear from him regarding payment for order flow? And Bob, you've talked about this in the past. Is he looking for a political win here?
He or she is going to do. I knew he'd pull every lever to deliver results to military veterans and their families. And that's exactly what he's done. I also want to thank all the veteran service organizations that are here today. I'm going to ask you all to stand. I'm not going to read your names out now, but the VA, all the organizations of the veterans organizations, please stand. Thank you. Before we leave today and we finish, I want to thank each one of you personally, because you just keep it going for us. You are the most valuable thing the veterans have. I mean it sincerely. So thank you. We owe you a great deal, and all the families owe you. And the Democratic and Republican sponsors of the bill, especially the leaders of our Veterans Committee, Big John Tester. John, thank you very much, old buddy, and Senator Moran, and thank you, as well as Takano and you know, Washit is also here. Where are you? Where is everybody? There you go. Okay, you have four right across. Yeah, okay. I need glasses. When I look out, the only thing I see is Joe Manchin. Hey, Joe, how are you? God, I wish I had Joe's hair. All kidding aside, all friends. Look, you all did so much to make this day possible, all of you, and you're critical to the passage of the PACT Act, which is on the floor right now. And the act would extend benefits and services to those exposed to burn pits and toxic substances during military service, I should say, and we need your support to get it passed. And in my State of the Union address, I laid out a unity agenda of four big things that all of us, Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, could tackle together as a nation. First was the opioid crisis. Second was mental health. Third was cancer. And the fourth was supporting our veterans. Today, our administration is delivering on that agenda. In just a moment, I'll be signing 9 different bills.